What inspired the making of that creepy doll?
Green light.
Which set caused the cast members to fear for their lives? And did a controversial mishap lead to South Korean citizens wanting to sign up for a real-life murder event? Let the games begin! Let's start with the red light, green light game from the first episode. The goal of the game is to avoid being seen by other players. Fortunately, the real-life version doesn't feature a giant robot doll with sinister motives. Speaking of the doll, her appearance was inspired by Hae-soo and Jung-jae illustrations, which the creators used as a reference point. The nightmarish creation has also been used to mess with Korean citizens in the real world. In what must be one of the most unusual marketing stunts in recent memory, Netflix had the doll sent to a village outside of Seoul and put on public display. It was supposed to be kept inside, but they ended up showcasing it in broad daylight, causing much fear and confusion in the process. It remains to be seen where the doll will appear next. Let's just hope she doesn't lock eyes on anyone. Moving on, other sets were even more surreal than the red light, green light setting. The cast and crew described working on Squid Game as dreamlike, and entering the sets was like walking into an enchanted world.
It's like a fucking fairy tale or something.
The staircase set is a prime example of those otherworldly sensibilities. This design was modeled after M.C. Escher's Relativity lithograph, which depicts a room with staircases that twist and turn in ways that defy all logic. The goal here was to disorient the viewer and make the people walking up and down the stairs seem insignificant. It's fair to say that the creators accomplished their job, as the staircase sequence is some trippy chaos that makes the players seem like they're stuck in a never-ending nightmare. Elsewhere, the tug-of-war setting is one of the more grounded of the bunch. The creators wanted this one to feel more down-to-earth so that the actors could showcase their physical strength. However, they also wanted the sequence to highlight some genuine human emotion. And creating an environment that was somewhat familiar to everyone involved brought out their inner turmoil.
저는 실제 그 게임장 안의 공간과 거의 흡사한 분위기를 연출해 주는 게 배우들이 진짜 그 안에서 뭔가를 하는 것 같은 느낌을 더 강하게.
All of the sets we just covered presented their own types of challenges, but there was one that really terrified the actors. Can you guess what it is? Of course, we're talking about the stepping stone game. Unlike other stepping stones, however, these ones were made out of glass. Naturally, that caused some stress for actors like ho-yeon.
이 세트가 한 1m 정도 위에서 이제 진행이 되는 거였고, 실제로 이제 강화 유리를 끼고 저희가 그 위를 이제 뛰어다녔었어요.
Writer and director Hwang Dong-hyuk elaborated on the situation even further, but his spin was more positive. While he was also worried about the potential disasters that could have happened if the glass broke, he revealed that it helped the actors' performances. That's because they were actually terrified, and that fear was authentically captured on the camera. The good news is that some of the games were fun to shoot. Much to the delight of the actors, the Honeycomb challenge was totally realistic, which made the set smell delightful. More so, the set also had a chef on standby to bake the cookies. And he was so good at his job that he earned the nickname Honeycomb Master. Filming this challenge required a whole day of work, so the experience certainly wasn't easy, but at least they got to munch on some cookies and keep up their energy levels thanks to all of that sweet sugar intake. Hwang Dong-hyuk probably needs some of those honeycomb cookies right about now though. Squid Game might be taking over the world, but the showrunner is in no rush to dive straight back in. I know, right? You'd think he'd be keen to capitalize on the show's momentum and popularity and get that second season made ASAP. But after spending years developing the show on his own, he's exhausted. Here's what he told Variety about Squid Game's next installment. It is quite tiring just thinking about it, but if I were to do it, I would certainly not do it alone. I'd consider using a writer's room and would want multiple experienced directors. Hopefully the demand for more episodes will spur him on to make them sooner rather than later, because Squid Game is on track to become Netflix's most successful series of all time. And to think that the show almost never came to be. Why is that, you ask? Let's just say that TV executives don't know a good thing when they see it. Shame on them. Squid Game had been in development since 2008, but Hwang Dong-hyuk couldn't find a home for his twisted creation until Netflix saved it from development hell in 2019. According to Hwang, other networks found Squid Game too grotesque, bizarre, and disturbing to take a chance on. Hwang also tried to develop Squid Game as a movie, but he couldn't raise the funds for that either. Once again, investors were put off by its surreal sensibilities and felt that the project was too much of a risk to financially back. In all fairness, Squid Game is kinda weird and messed up, but these bigwigs should always remember that viewers are weirdos too, and we can't get enough of violent South Korean thrillers with unique premises. Plus, don't they know that controversy creates cash? And Squid Games has certainly caused some controversy. If you've watched the show, you'll remember the calling cards with the phone numbers on them. But did you know that those numbers belong to average, everyday people who had no idea what Squid Game was until their phones started ringing off the hook? Hwang didn't mean to cause any inconvenience, however, and he was quick to apologize to the unlucky folks who received endless calls and text messages from passionate fans. But here's the really disturbing part. Some of the confused callers believed that Squid Game was real when they spoke to the fans, and a few of them wanted to sign up for it. Anything to make a few extra bucks, right? That being said, those viewers were in the minority. The reality is that most of South Korea flocked to view Squid Game when it dropped on Netflix. So much so that it caused the South Korean ISP to sue the streamer. The internet service provider experienced such a large surge in traffic that they felt Netflix should help cover some of the bandwidth costs and pay for extra network capacity. At the time of this video recording, the battle between the Southern Korean ISP rages on. But the case is a testament to Squid Game's popularity at the end of the day, and that's kinda cool. And I'm sure Netflix won't mind shelling out more money if it means getting some eyeballs on their content. Besides, Squid Game was a costly project from the get-go. It cost around $16 million to make the first season. That might be modest compared to Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, but it's expensive for a South Korean genre show that seeks to shock and repulse viewers. However, most of that money went towards the show's more eye-catching and pleasant moments. If you want to know more about Squid Game, be sure to check out our video on everything we know about Season 2 so far. We might have to wait a while before we see it, but the show's creators has dished on some details about his plans for the next part of the survival saga.